Hey everyone, I am back with my good friend the whiteboard because I want to talk to you about something today and share a little bit of story time. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about ruts, what they are, how to get out of them. So a lot of times, ruts are something that we kind of make with the steady passage of time, ways that we have acted for so long that it just becomes the natural direction. But then other times ruts can be formed by external forces that can kind of take us in directions that we don't want to go, which brings us to story time today. So years and years and years ago, when I was much younger, I went with my parents to a friend of theirs cabin. There was a kid there who was a teenager about my age, and we went out on one of those old three-wheeled ATVs with like the one wheel up front, two wheels in the back. And we thought we were like totally invincible because, we're young and teenagers and that's what you think. So instead of sticking to all the nice trails that went around there, we decided to go up on this crazy logging trail. And I was up front and I'm like, bumping around up there and just flying down this logging trail. And I come around a corner and I didn't realize that all of this runoff had cut a rut right across our path. And so all of a sudden my wheel, which was going straight, drops into this rut and shoots us like straight off the cliff. It was terrifying because as we had been going along this road, I was looking down and seeing all these little treetops down here. And so this was like one of those, it could have been the end kind of moments, but we go shooting off the edge of the cliff and miraculously there is like this little ledge, like 15 feet down. Shoot off the edge, land right on there. Total miracle. Another miracle was we hadn't seen a single person and we're like walking back and this guy shows up with a truck that has a winch on the front and ends up hauling our ATV out. We were even able to drive this thing home and proceeded to not tell our parents for like 15 years. But anyway, all of that to say, I learned that day just how much a rut can really throw you. So especially one that is created by these kind of external forces. So sometimes there's things that come in from the outside. This can represent things from our past. These can be, people that hurt us, people that we need to, things that happen that kind of cut a rut in our life where now we go somewhere we didn't really want to go. And so there's ways to deal with this in our life. Like it depends. Sometimes, like I said, if it's like an old rut, it's something that happened in our past, we can forgive. There's inner healing. We can actually go in and reinforce the road. But then sometimes there's circumstances in our life that are kind of ongoing, where it's like there are some bad sources that are continuously trying to put ruts in our road. And, with those, hopefully you can redirect the water. I mean, really, that's putting in some healthy boundaries where we say, okay, no, like this is not how this is going to go. We need to get this so that it's no longer in my path. But there's some things that we just can't do that with. So we need to slow down and be aware. Like if I had known that there was this giant rut cut in the road, I would have gone much slower around that curve so that I could kind of navigate it a little bit more gently. So, this can kind of be things like, we know that we need to slow down when we're going to get around certain people. We need to be purposeful. This may even be, I need to slow down. I know if I'm going near a McDonald's because I have a rut that the smell of French fries makes me head for the edge. So, so sometimes it's just be aware, slow down, navigate carefully. But most of the time, most of the ruts we deal with in our life isn't from external forces, it's from our own patterns. We walk a certain way for so long that it starts to cut a rut that as we go, we just naturally fall into this pattern. This is the way we go. The longer we do something, the deeper that rut gets, the harder it is to get out of it, the harder it is to change things up. So a lot of times we need to recognize it took us time to make this rut. It's going to take us time to change, to experiencing enough of a change where we're not getting sucked back into the bottom of this rut. But there's a verse that I think is pretty cool and helpful, and it is, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So that word conformed is systematizo. You can tell I'm a little bit rough on my Greek, but this is very similar to our word system. systematizo. But anyway, so there is a systematic way that the world tries to get our mind to conform. It's systematic. It keeps pushing us in a certain direction. But the Bible says to be transformed. That's that word metamorpho, which may also sound familiar. It is the same word used for the metamorphosis of a butterfly, where we can experience real transformation. And then it's by the renewal of your mind. That word renewal means renovation. God is in the business of renovating, where he can change these old patterns and help us get back on track. So the world and circumstances made some ruts in your minds and in your hearts, but you need to get up out of them. And so you got to recognize, though, that there is going to be a pull. This is going to require effort. There has been this way that you have walked for so long, and as you try and pull out of it, there is going to be the temptation to pull back in. But this can also work for you. Over time, you will develop new ruts. It's not going to be a fight forever. It's not going to be a struggle to stay on the road. When you really get that structure in place and you are moving consistently, that is actually going to start working for you. When you have those good habits established, it's actually going to be a little bit hard to fall out of them because it's going to be working for you. So you got to kind of evaluate in your own life, what are some negative ruts I have, and then what is a systematic approach I can take that's going to help me get back on track and stay on track so that things don't throw me. All right, hope you're having a good night.